Hello, legal-minded friends. I'm Karen Cole. If you are not familiar with the Karen Reid case, you should check out my playlist, as this case, in my opinion, is a miscarriage of justice. Success without honor is the worst fraud. Sophocles, a Greek writer, once said this: "It is better to fail with honor than to succeed by fraud." So the meaning of fraud is to be dishonest, making a false representation, using trickery to gain or cause a loss or expose a risk to loss. So the phrase by this Greek writer, could I say great writer? But it's Greek writer, is reminding us if you cannot achieve what you want through honesty, it is better not to achieve it, knowing you did the best you could, so you fail with honor. Can we use this same philosophy in law? You may have heard of the Blackstone formula that holds it is better that 10 guilty people go free than one innocent person suffer, hence why a defendant is innocent until proven guilty, and the prosecution has the burden of proof to show that the defendant is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You may have also heard the principle this way: it is better for 10 guilty men to walk free than one innocent man to go to prison. This is why the law requires due process, meaning legal matters be in accordance with rules and principles that all individuals are treated fairly. In this video, I want to explore, did the prosecution's presentation of the video inside the police sally port rise to failing to disclose information when under a legal duty to disclose it? And would this failure rise to the level of prosecutorial misconduct in the Karen Reid trial? To help us identify prosecutorial misconduct, the most common types are failure to disclose exculpatory evidence, and we recently saw this in the Alec Baldwin case, so let's have a listen to that.
This case unraveled spectacularly fast with allegations of prosecutorial misconduct, misconduct by the state, and Alec Baldwin tonight is going to be a man unburdened by these charges. It's an incredible development.
I was just watching on your phone along with you as I was standing before the microphone. You see Alec Baldwin dropped his head, kind of shook his head. You could see the people behind him kind of celebrating as much as you can inside of a courtroom. Obviously relief on the Baldwin side. Yeah,
relief on Baldwin's side, and this raises so many questions about what happened here, why the state of New Mexico poured hundreds of thousands of dollars into a prosecution of Alec Baldwin, only to end up with the judge dismissing it without prejudice, meaning it cannot be refiled. Game over.
Are you surprised by the without prejudice add-on?
Not at all. The judge was angry at the prosecution. The judge was angry at the way this was handled. And in her mind, this is the only way to fix a miscarriage of justice.
Why didn't the judge in the Karen Reid trial dismiss the case with the prosecutor's representation of some of the evidence when this happened? So we're going to watch some clips, and you'll see some of my notes on the screen. And we'll also talk about another type of prosecutorial misconduct in a bit. So let's watch some clips from the trial, then you decide if you think this rises to the level of any of the main types of prosecutorial misconduct.
Mr. Lally, your next witness, please.
Yes, Your Honor, the Commonwealth will call Trooper Michael Proctor to the stand.
Welcome, officers down there. You might please step up.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the evidence given to the court and jury in the case now hearing to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, jurors.
State Trooper Proctor Michael is the lead investigator. To save us time, we will jump to the defense on cross, as they did a fantastic job of exposing what Prosecutor Lally brought out in direct. Can you notice any of the types of prosecutorial misconduct? So we are looking for failure to disclose exculpatory evidence. That would be crucial to the defense's case. Introducing false evidence would be allowing misrepresentation of the evidence. And improper arguments would be grossly improper to the extent a fair trial is impeded.
There was additional video surveillance footage that you chose to hold back from that discovery, correct?
Objection.
Did you hold back videos?
I did not, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
There's surveillance video from Canton Police Department's Sallyport garage that wasn't turned over, right?
That video was discovered later on and then handed over.
The first time you revealed the existence of that footage was in that separate proceeding in February of 2024. Is that right?
Yes.
You were questioned about it, and you knew you were under oath at the time, correct?
Correct.
And that's when you disclosed, yes, there is Sallyport footage, and I've seen it.
The video I was referencing was the exterior Sallyport camera where you can't make out anything.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. The exterior, you said, exterior, outside,
Correct.
meaning the one of the driveway.
Right.
And you say you can't make anything out in that.
There's two different ones. There's the main driveway camera, and then there's this exterior Sallyport camera.
You were asked about this set of videos at that other hearing, right?
Yes. Some.
And you indicated at the time that there was one grainy video, which sort of mainly black and grainy,
Yes.
and another one that showed you and Sergeant Bukhenik arriving at Canton PD behind Miss Reed's vehicle on the tow truck. Is that right?
Yes.
You were asked very specifically, are you aware whether there are any cameras in the garage in the Sallyport where Karen Reed's SUV was parked? And your answer was yes. Right? In the garage.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Do you recall being asked that question?
No.
I can repeat it if you wish.
Yeah, please.
Question. Are you aware of whether there are any cameras in the garage or Sallyport where Karen Reed's SUV was parked? Answer, yes.
Okay.
And then you answered, have you reviewed the video footage of that garage? Answer, I saw one very grainy video and then another of Sergeant Bukhenik and I arriving in the main entrance around 5:30 following the vehicle. Period. You remember that answer?
Yes.
That clearly was an answer to the question, did you see video of the interior of the garage, right?
Objection.
Sustained, ask it differently.
Were you answering a question about video inside the garage?
No, I was answering the question about what video I observed, and it was exterior video that I observed.
Although the answer to the question was cameras in the garage or Sallyport. That was the question.
If I was aware of any.
And your answer was yes. And then the next question is, have you reviewed the footage? And your answer was, I saw one very grainy video, and then another, Sergeant Bukhenik and I arriving in the main entrance around 5:30 following the vehicle, right? That was your testimony.
Yeah, those two videos I'm referring to in the exterior of the building.
Question, when did you watch the video from the Sallyport? Answer, I haven't reviewed it, sir, in quite some time, so I can't recall what's on there. End quote. You remember that?
Yes.
So obviously at the time, in February of 2024, you had had that video surveillance, you had had that footage for so long that you couldn't remember exactly what was on it because it had been, quote, quite some time, right?
The exterior Sallyport camera.
Except you weren't asked about the exterior. You were asked, question, when did you watch the video from the Sallyport? Right? That was the question.
Well, that was the video we had, so that was how I referenced it. There was this exterior Sallyport video.
Why didn't you say to the person that was questioning you under oath, I don't know anything about video inside the Sallyport. I'm referring to outside the building. Why didn't you say that and clarify it?
Yeah, I should have clarified it, sir.
Because you'll agree, it sounds a hell of a lot like, an awful lot like, you're talking about what's inside the Sallyport, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
The next question you were asked, why did you review the video of the Sallyport? Answer, we review every video we pull, and we pull a lot of video. End quote. Do you remember that?
I do.
Not one word in that testimony, not one word says exterior, does it?
No, it does not.
You testified that you had obtained and reviewed the Sallyport garage video so long ago that you literally couldn't even remember what was on it, right?
Correct.
You did know, however, that if you had video at the Sallyport, it would clearly show that Miss Reed's vehicle arrived at 5:30, 5:31. Right? You knew that, correct?
Yes, from the driveway camera.
But you withheld that video out of 360 odd videos that you turned over. You withheld that one and never mentioned it until February of 2024, correct?
Objection.
Is that true?
I'm not aware of that, withholding that.
On April 4th, 2024, it's getting late. On April 4th, 2024, you turned over one video from the interior of the Sallyport garage, correct?
Yes, sir.
The interior, not the exterior, right?
Correct.
And that, remarkably enough, was a grainy video, right?
Yes.
And that video is missing the precise time that that vehicle was delivered to the Sallyport, correct?
Objection.
Was it? I'll allow it.
I don't recall.
It's missing 42 minutes at the beginning, and it jumps from 5:08 p.m. to 5:50 p.m., correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Have you reviewed the video?
Yes.
Did you see that the timestamp jumps from 5:08 to 5:50?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, how's it?
I'll see you at sidebar if you want.
Okay, please. Ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you. You've reviewed the video, the grainy video, correct?
Yes.
And that's from a camera perspective that would show, or that does show, the right rear area of the SUV after it's pulled in, correct?
Yes.
Did you note that the time jumps from 5:08 to about 5:50 at the beginning of the video?
Yeah, I observed a jump in video.
And that was about 42 minutes, correct?
Approximately, yes.
You're aware that there's another video from the interior of that Sallyport as well, correct?
Yes.
And you're also aware that, by the way, did you secure that video, the second one? Let me ask you a predicate question, because it's a little confusing. The second video from the interior of the Sallyport is inverted, correct?
Yes.
You're now aware of that.
I am.
Did you recover that video?
I did not.
Who did?
I believe Detective Lieutenant Tully received that from the Canton Police Chief.
Rafferty?
I believe so.
Who asked for it?
I'm not sure, sir.
Did you make the request?
I did not.
How did you become aware that a request had been made?
I was made aware that the video had essentially existed from the interior Sallyport area.
By whom?
I was probably informed by Detective Lieutenant Tully.
So Lieutenant Tully tells you that a second video exists, correct?
Interior Sallyport cameras, yes.
When did he tell you that?
I don't recall.
Was it weeks ago or years ago?
That was more recent than, maybe months ago, a month ago.
As a matter of fact, it was after the trial had already started, mid-April, correct?
I don't recall. I thought it was before. Timestamp in the bottom was inversed. Was it reversed?
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, the timestamp on the bottom of it was backwards.
Was it blue?
So instead of reading left to right, it was right to left. Okay.
Was it blue?
I believe it was yellow.
So the video you saw had a timestamp that was inverted, correct?
Yes.
How about the video itself? Is that inverted?
No, from the video I saw, the way the vehicle was brought in relation to the garage and the doors into the PD, it wasn't reversed or inverted.
It was or was not?
Was not.
So as you saw the video, the portion of the vehicle that purported to be the passenger side was in fact the passenger side, and the vehicle, the side of the vehicle that purported to be the driver's side was in fact the driver's side.
Yes, so I reviewed video yesterday just to rewatch it, and the one that I watched had the correct angle, it wasn't reversed, the car was brought in, tow truck driver gets out, from the driver's side, it wasn't reversed. The only thing reversed on it was like the timestamp on the bottom.
Well, were you watching video that was produced in this trial?
Yes.
So were you aware that the defense presented a piece of evidence?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Thank you. Were you aware that the defense presented a piece of evidence where we inverted the video back to the correct,
No, it's not.
and that timestamp was inverted?
I was not aware of that.
When did you watch that that video?
Just the other day, I was reviewing it.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, we'll take our luncheon break.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
So what we saw in that clip was the defense was able to establish that there was a possibility that the video was discovered well before they handed it over to the defense. And what would normally happen is that the judge would have to decide, was there a disadvantage to the defense because of the late disclosure, or was it disclosed late in bad faith by the prosecutor? Of course, the judge did not do that, and if you want to see other times when the court did not take action because of the prosecutor's actions, then I suggest you watch this Microdots video, because they have discovered quite a few more issues where the prosecutor was dishonest.
All right, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. So when we left off on Thursday, we were discussing the Sallyport video that was introduced by the Commonwealth on Wednesday during direct examination. Do you recall that?
I do.
When he introduced that video, Mr. Lally asked you several very specific questions about the video, including if you recognized the video in general, correct?
Yes, he did.
And you said you did.
I did.
He also asked you whether you recognized any of the individuals in the video at a particular time where he paused the video and you used your green laser pointer to point out a couple of individuals that you recognized. Do you recall that?
I do.
And in that pause, you indicated at that time on Wednesday that you recognized Trooper Proctor and what you thought was yourself, the person slipping at the front of the SUV, correct?
I indicated that Trooper Proctor and myself were in the video, and there was an individual slipping in the front of the vehicle.
And you then on Thursday, you corrected that to make sure that we were clear about it. The person slipping was actually the tow driver, not you, correct?
That's what it appeared, so yes.
Okay. I'd like to take a quick look at that with the court's permission at 4:46. May I publish that?
Yes.
This is 4:46. It's the same video that you were shown by Mr. Lally. We're at runtime about 5:37 and 05 p.m. I'm sorry, I said runtime. I meant time of day. Thank you. Time of day would be most easily seen right down here, although it's pretty small from where you're at. If you can't see that, please let me know.
I do not see that, no.
Okay. Your Honor, I'll hold off on that question, and I may ask the court for relief in just a moment. If we can play this for just a quick second, and I'll ask you, Mr. Biggs, if you can pause it. Go ahead and pause there. Okay. Sergeant, this is the basic video, the point at which it was paused when Mr. Lally asked you to identify the individuals in the video, correct?
I believe it was a different time, but I'm not sure.
Do you remember using your green laser pointer, pointing at the person in the back and identifying that person as Trooper Proctor, and then pointing at the person in the front, screen right, mistakenly as you? You remember that?
I remember indicating where the individuals would be, yes.
Okay. And so do you have the green laser pointer with you?
I do.
Could you point at the location where you see Trooper Proctor?
I do not know specifically right now if that is Trooper Proctor behind the vehicle, but when Mr. Lally asked me to indicate where we would be, it was in this location here.
You're indicating toward the rear of the SUV.
Correct.
On Wednesday, and I just want to draw your attention back to your testimony on Wednesday, you used the laser pointer and pointed at two different individuals, person toward the back, and you identified him as Mr. Proctor, as Trooper Proctor, correct? On Wednesday.
I indicated that Trooper Proctor myself would be in the shot in the rear of the vehicle. And then I indicated that I'm wearing a olive drab baseball hat, and Trooper Proctor's wearing a winter-style knit black hat.
Isn't it true that on Wednesday, what the question you were asked from Mr. Lally is, Ms. Gilman, from Mr. Lally, Ms. Gilman, if you can just pause there for a moment, as the sergeant's almost falling in the video, when the court said, keep your voice up, Mr. Lally. Do you recall that?
I do not recall that, no.
Do you remember Mr. Lally saying, Sergeant Bukhenik, with reference to any of the individuals you see in this video, do you recognize any of those individuals? And you responding, I can recognize Trooper Proctor and myself. And you used the green laser pointer in doing so.
Yes, I did.
And that was on this area, may not be to the frame, but this is where the video was paused when you made that identification, correct?
It was approximately at this time.
Okay. So you were then asked after you identified, and at that time you did identify Trooper Proctor, and again, mistakenly, yourself, correct?
I directed the laser to the area where we would be.
Okay. And Trooper Proctor is the one toward the back of the truck.
Again, I cannot tell you which individual. There are multiple individuals there. I do not know at this point in time where it's frozen if that's exactly Trooper Proctor. I know we were present at that location, and I know what he was wearing for a headdress and what I was wearing.
All right, so you have to move along from this point.
Then why did you, one more question, Your Honor, then why on Wednesday did you indicate very clearly the person toward the back of the SUV was Trooper Proctor? If you don't know, why did you say that on Wednesday?
During the frozen frame, I could tell there were two individuals back there, and I was at one point in time in that location with Trooper Proctor.
That appeared to be Trooper Proctor in the back of the car.
From where the video is frozen right now, I cannot tell.
So you're changing your testimony from Wednesday?
Objection.
Are you changing your testimony?
I am not changing my testimony, no.
Okay, next question, Mr. Jackson.
You were then asked whether the video was true and accurate as in terms of its depiction of what you saw, what you observed in the Sallyport that night, correct?
I indicated that the video is true and accurate to the location.
And you were then asked whether or not, in looking at that video, watching it, either you or Trooper Proctor approached, manipulated, touched that right rear taillight at any time, and your answer was never, correct?
That's correct.
And while you testified, this is the video that was displayed for the jurors, correct? But it was this orientation, the front of the truck facing right, the rear of the truck facing left, correct?
That's correct.
And for all appearances, it would appear that the right rear taillight of the SUV is the one facing the jurors, if you will, facing the viewer, right? From appearances. You didn't know anything different.
Can you rephrase that question, please?
Sure. Just from the appearance of the video, as it is now, the appearance of the video looks like the right rear taillight is the taillight that's facing the jurors, facing the viewer, toward the rear of the truck, correct?
As it is frozen, correct.
And on Wednesday, I want to move through this relatively briefly, Sergeant. On Wednesday, you did not mention that this video was inverted, did you?
It was not brought out, no.
Not brought up by, I mean, that's a passive way of saying it. I'm asking you directly. Did you mention that this was an inverted video?
Not on Wednesday, no.
On Thursday, Mr. Lally finished his questioning on Wednesday, then came back on Thursday. You continued on direct examination under questioning by Mr. Lally again to start the day, correct?
That is correct.
And during that testimony on Thursday morning, you also, under direct examination, did not mention that this video was inverted, did you?
Did not, no.
And then it was my turn to ask you questions. You recall that?
I do.
And then I began asking you questions about the accuracy of this video. And at that time, for the first time, you said it appears that it is a mirror image. It's an inverted video, correct?
I advised you that it is a mirrored image at that point, correct?
Would you agree with me now, as you sit here, that this video, as we're looking at it, is not a true and accurate depiction of what you viewed in that Sally Port that night?
I would not agree with you, no.
Do you believe that what the jurors are seeing right here is a true and accurate, surveillance footage of the Sally Port that night?
Yes, it's just mirrored.
Which means what's left is right and what's right is left, correct?
Correct. If the jurors were actually standing where the camera is recording, which it's recording all accurate depiction of activity and events taking place, the back of the vehicle would be on the right and the front of the vehicle would be on the left, but all activity is accurately depicted in the video.
So, in point of fact, everything in this video, every bit of it, is reversed, correct?
It's just a mirror image.
So it's not accurate, is it?
It's an accurate depiction of what has taken place.
Sergeant Bukhenik, if I were to ask you, let me give you a hypothetical. Let's say you were investigating a circumstance in which a suspect was being identified by 5 witnesses based on a tattoo on that person's left arm. And then you go show that witness, or those series of witnesses, an inverted version of a photograph of that person with the tattoo appearing on his right arm. And those witnesses all say, no, that's not the guy. I remember the guy. The guy had the tat on the left arm. Would you think that that's an accurate depiction of the person with the tattoo?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you agree with me that an inverted video is not accurate? It's inverted by definition, right?
It's an accurate depiction of the events taking place.
You've reviewed this video in its entirety, you testified, correct?
Yes.
About how long would you say this video is in its runtime, from start to finish?
I did not take note of the length of the video.
All right. I'm going to ask you, Mr. Bates, if you could, with court's permission, can you just pull the cursor back to the beginning of the time of day for this video? And pause it there. Can you see, and this is not an eye exam, can you see the timestamp on the lower left-hand side?
No, I cannot.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I could do this.
I'd like to see a sidebar. Testimony or calling an additional witness, lawyers agree as to certain facts. So what the lawyers have agreed to here is that this video begins at 5:30 and 23 seconds, 5:30 p.m. and 23 seconds, and it ends at 5:48 and 15 seconds. And the total run time of the video is 5 minutes and 51 seconds. All right, your questions, Mr. Jackson?
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for that, Your Honor. Sergeant Bukhenik, given the fact that the beginning time, the time of day, is 5:30 and 23 seconds in the evening, and the end time of this video stops at 5:48 and 15 seconds. Would you agree with me, without doing the math down to the seconds, that's about 17 minutes and 50 seconds or so?
In real time, yes.
In real time. The actual time of this video, the run time of this video, however, is only 5 minutes and 51 seconds, less than 6 minutes. You'd agree with that?
That is what's captured.
So that means that about 2/3 of the video is missing, correct?
It's not missing, just not recorded.
It's not there.
It was never there.
I'm not saying it was ever there. I'm saying I don't know if it was ever there or not. Neither do you. I'm saying it's not there, correct?
It was never recorded.
Well, you don't know what has been or and wasn't recorded, do you?
Objection.
I'll let him answer that.
Do you?
I can only speak to what was turned over and what we received, and based on the evidence that was produced, the video that was produced is what we got.
I understand. So based on that answer, you acknowledge you don't know what may or may not have been recorded without your knowledge.
No. Due to the restriction of the storage of the system, they try to save the storage and trigger the recording only by motion or certain time parameters. So in this video footage, I could tell you that the video is triggered by motion to record.
Well, how much storage did this system have?
I do not know.
What was the level of storage at the time that this video was taken? Was it 60%? Was it 99%? What was it?
I do not know.
So you actually don't know, Sargent, the inner workings of this system, do you?
I do not know all the inner workings of the system.
But you do know that there appears to be portions of this video missing and portions of this video in which people just seem to apparate out of nowhere.
It's not missing. It just was not recording.
Let's move to, I think it's 5:37. A few seconds. Okay, if we could, with the court's permission, can we play about less than a minute?
Yes.
Pause it. Did you see where the person that was toward the back of the vehicle went in this video?
It appeared they went behind the vehicle.
Which would be which area of the vehicle, the right or the left, in real life, not on this video?
In real life, it would be the right rear portion of the vehicle.
Toward the taillight area.
That quarter panel, correct?
Let's go ahead and play it. Pause it. Did it appear that someone just seemed to appear out of nowhere toward the rear of the vehicle just now?
Due to the triggering of the motion.
I asked you why. I asked you if. Did it appear if someone just appeared out of nowhere in the back of the vehicle?
That's what the footage represents, yes.
Can we go ahead and play this? Pause it. Did you see that the person walking away from the vehicle that you earlier on Wednesday identified as Trooper Proctor appeared to have a notebook, black portfolio in his hand?
Yes, I did.
And can you see from there, I'm going to ask you this basically knowing the answer, can you see from there the time of day on the lower left side as that person leaves the screen?
No, I cannot.
Would you disagree if I indicated to you that was 5:38 and 7 seconds in the evening?
I would have to see it for myself. I cannot agree with you based on your statement.
And please don't speak until you're back in the witness stand. Thank you. All right, Mr. Jackson?
Thank you. Sergeant, did you have an opportunity to look at the time of day at the point that the video is paused right now?
Yes, I did.
What is that time of day?
5:38:07.
5:38 and 7 seconds, correct?
That's correct.
And remind me about how far of a drive in time is this location at Canton PD from 34th Fairview?
With no traffic, no adverse weather and road conditions, several minutes, four minutes, maybe 5 minutes, depending which route you take.
Your Honor, I have a flash drive that I'd like to have marked.
Is this a different flash drive than we had on Friday?
It is, and I can explain it sidebar if the court wishes.
All right. Are you just marking it, or do you intend to show it?
I intend to show it with the court's permission.
All right. So we'll mark it for identification, and then I do need to see you. Yes.
Thanks. If you could move that to a run time of 1 minute and 17 seconds, so thereabouts. And go ahead and pause that. Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted in what's just been marked as Exhibit 542?
I do.
How do you recognize that?
It's an inversion of the video provided from Canton PD Sally Port.
It's actually, and that inversion corrects the perspective. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Okay, so now we're looking at well, we've always been looking at, but it's clear that we're looking at the driver's side of the vehicle, correct?
That's correct.
And everything in it's properly oriented, is that right?
It's an accurate depiction of what is taking place.
Meaning right is right and left is left in this video.
The vehicle came from the right into the left. The driver's side is visible and is closest to the camera.
If we could go ahead and, thank you, Sergeant. If we could go ahead and play this for just a few seconds, please.
This video incident has dealt a big blow to the prosecution's credibility.
It was misleading.
Northeastern law professor Daniel Medwed is talking about the video the prosecutor showed this week to jurors in the Karen Reed murder trial.
I testify that this is a accurate scene.
The video shows Reed's SUV being pulled into the Canton Police Department after it had been seized as evidence.
The jurors may have felt a little bit tricked or deceived.
That's because the prosecutor never mentioned that the video was inverted, showing the driver's side, not the passenger side. That's important because prosecutors say Reed's passenger side taillight was damaged by this point after she had allegedly backed into John O'Keefe and killed him.
Somebody wanted that video to be inverted.
My instinct is it was probably a mistake.
Medwed says prosecutors probably didn't notice the video was inverted, not until the defense attorney pointed out some writing in the video is reversed. Medwed says intentionally deceiving a jury would be risky for the prosecutor's career and for the case if it was exposed.
Why would the prosecution take this risk?
Here's the video after we have uninverted it. There does appear to be a person near the passenger side taillight, and the defense says that's Trooper Michael Proctor, whom they've accused of intentionally breaking the taillight.
How did you discover that the image was inverted?
I saw the word police and thought I had dyslexia.
In the video, the word police appears backwards on another vehicle parked in the garage. So does the number 4 on one of the garage's overhead doors. Defense attorney Alan Jackson believes it was no accident.
The timestamp across the bottom is not inverted, which means somebody had to put that on the inverted, the manipulated, the altered video on purpose.
Here is the video again after we have uninverted it. What is in fact the passenger side taillight is out of view, and there appears to be somebody standing near it.
Who's the guy in the watch cap, in the winter cap, back there by that right rear taillight the entire time by himself? That's Proctor.
Proctor is Trooper Michael Proctor, the lead investigator on the case. Now, the defense has said that he is the one who broke the taillight as part of an effort, they say, to frame Karen Reed. I did reach out to the district attorney's office about that inverted video. They said they would not comment.
So we just heard an attorney on the news say that it could be a mistake. What if we had additional evidence providing false evidence? Why was the video of the Sallyport missing time? And why did the state trooper have the incorrect time on his report? Let's listen to the defense question State Trooper Proctor on this.
You were responsible for seizing Miss Reed's car, correct?
Yes.
And you originally claimed that that seizure took place at 5:30 p.m. Is that right?
Correct.
You signed numerous affidavits under oath claiming that you did not seize Miss Reed's vehicle until 5:30 p.m. on January 29, 2022, right?
Correct.
At the time that you seized Miss Reed's vehicle, you were unaware that there was alarm.com surveillance footage of the area from which the car was seized, correct?
Correct.
The fact of the matter is, that was false. The car was not seized at 5:30, was it?
4:16 p.m.
Right. An hour and change, an hour and 18 minutes, hour and 20 minutes earlier. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you ever seek to change or amend the error, a false statement about the time
So
car received and seized in any of those documents that you filed under oath?
when I incorrectly transcribed the times, it was on the first affidavit I had written. And then as I continued to write other search warrants, I used that as a template. So I never caught it on the first one, and that's the reason those times are off on the other affidavits I had wrote.
So the first one was false, and then every single one after that was false too.
It was just an incorrect transcription of time.
An incorrect transcription of the time. We
Yes.
call that, I don't know, a Scrivener's error?
Objection.
Ask it differently.
Sure. Was it a typo?
Yes.
It was a typo. So you got the 4 wrong, you got the 1 wrong, and you got the 6 wrong. And those turned into 5 and 3 and 0, right?
They were typos, sir.
Let's make some sense out of this. We have the prosecutor presenting an inverted video, missing time on the video. We have the lead officer Proctor who collected the SUV, leaving with the SUV well before the time he said, lining up with the missing time on the video. And he says the time error on his report was a typo. So why the inverted video? To mislead the jury. Well, if you remember, Sergeant Bukhenik changed his testimony from it being Proctor behind the SUV when it appeared to be on the left side. So he can't say it was Trooper Proctor after it was realized the video was inverted and the left side was really the right side. Why is this all important? Because Proctor said there was large pieces of taillight missing from the right side. Here, let's have a listen.
By the defendant's vehicle, you mentioned some damage that you observed to the right rear passenger side area. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you describe to the jury what it was specifically that you observed as far as damage to that area of the vehicle?
Yeah, the right rear taillight had such large pieces missing from it.
Well, you can judge for yourself. Is State Trooper Proctor telling you the truth? You can see Karen Reed's right tail light when she left at 5 a.m. to look for John O'Keefe. Does it appear to have large pieces missing? Yet the photo taken at the Sallyport does appear to have pieces missing. You can see that on the left. Let me play you the testimony from a police officer in the area where the SUV was collected from Karen Reed's parents' property. What does he have to say about the right taillight?
All right, whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the jury?
Nicholas Barros, B-A-R-R-O-S.
And how are you employed, sir?
With the town of Dighton.
And what, if any, role or what do you do for the town of Dighton?
I'm a police sergeant for the police department.
And how long in total have you been a member of the Dighton Police?
In total, started in 2011, 14 years this December.
And how long have you had the rank of sergeant with the Dighton Police?
A year and a half.
Now, if I could direct your attention to January 29th, 2022. Do you recall that date?
I do.
And were you working that day?
I was.
At some point, did you make any observations of the right rear part of that Lexus SUV?
I did.
And what, if anything, did you observe about that area of the vehicle?
I saw that there was some damage to the right rear taillight. To my best ability and recollection, that taillight was not completely damaged. It was cracked, and a piece was missing, but not completely damaged.
Well, I said I would let you decide if there was prosecutorial misconduct. On the screen is the taillight pieces found at the crime scene. Without these pieces of taillight, there would be no evidence of Karen Reed's car hitting John O'Keefe. Sergeant Barros said the taillight was cracked, with a piece missing, not completely damaged. Compare that to State Trooper Proctor's testimony. He reported the incorrect time. Then the late disclosure of the Sallyport video with missing time, allowing enough time to plant the taillight pieces at the crime scene, as they were not found at the crime scene until after Karen Reed's SUV was in the Sallyport. Add that to the prosecutor presenting the inverted video. How did he not catch that? How could any judge not have dismissed the case as prosecutorial misconduct? This, to me, in my opinion, is a miscarriage of justice. What's your thoughts? By leaving a comment, you may help someone else that will read your comment. And of course, I love to read all comments as they are valued, and together we can be more informed. And this information may help you or someone you know. In the meantime, on this channel, you'll find a variety of playlists to suit every curiosity about the justice system. And we provide you with a visual to information and the process. So please like this video if you like this kind of content. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to be notified when I'm going live or upload another video. I'm Karen Cole from Legal Minded Friends. Information is power, meaning if you know something, you can make decisions that are right for you.